Hello, welcome back. It's Friday again, and no, you are not looking at this incorrectly. I am deciding to start, at least for this week and probably the rest of the series, to do only whatever qualifying session I made it in. So basically, probably just Q3, depending on how the rest of the season goes. But yeah, I figured to shave off 4 minutes of video time instead of watching me do qualifying laps. Let's just watch the one that matters the most, which is Q3, of course. So, trying this out to see how this goes, and if it saves time in recording especially, then that might be a little bit better. We are stuck, unfortunately, in between Gasly and Piastri for this one. For Q1 going to Q2, I qualified P15 for this one, and then I qualified P10 going from Q2 to Q3. So, literally by the absolute skin of my teeth, all things considered. So, we are... I'm going into this expecting to be like maybe P10, but we're 3/10 up on Antonelli at the moment, so at least maybe a top 5 start is possible. We'll see how things fare, as we probably just knocked out the bollard there, but it's still within track limits. It's fine. As we will round off through the final corner, and we'll come across the start-finish line to go into provisional P5. Hey, what do you know? On to the race.
Welcome to the most populous city in North America. The legendary Jim Clark won the first official F1 race here in 1963. It's Mexico City, and it's Grand Prix Sunday. We are 2,285 meters above sea level. It is always a tough test on the engines. Cooler temperatures today will help. 17 corners out there, 7 to the left, 10 to the right. It's 2.6 miles. And when you get to turns 13 and 14, the Fora Sol former baseball stadium, it will still be loud. They will still be cheered, despite the wet weather. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Russell, Frostbite, and Gasly. Antonelli, Sainz, Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen, Ocon, Ollie Behrman, Bortoletto, Hadjar, Stroll, Alex Albon, and Nico Hülkenberg. Colapinto and Yuki Tsunoda rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
And of course, as if last week wasn't enough to torment me in terms of a wet start, guess what? It's happening again. Welcome to sudden rain in Mexico. Luckily, only intermediate conditions. It's not too wet, all things considered, on the track. So we're not going to be lasting, it's not going to be too long here, as Russell is going to be trying to immediately... Okay, I'm starting to see the one nickname that Russell may or may not have. With a certain figure in history that I will not say here. Even though my videos aren't monetized, I'm not going to risk that. But if you know, you know. Yeah, I not even the first corner, barely even the first corner. And already Russell has committed acts of egregiousness. I can't say, I don't think I can say the T word, the TER word, so I'm just gonna move on from that. Anyway, despite the fact that we have front wing damage thanks to Mercedes hiring a literal chicane that decides to drive a car, we make it up to at least P3 for now, but that front wing is going to be a little bit devastating for us, all things considered, as we'll move on to lap 4. Look at the rear tires here. Guess what? Yeah, I know how that went last time I heard that kind of a call, but I know this time that it's raining a lot less, so I decided to impromptu box a little bit earlier than expected, I'm sure, with Piastri and Leclerc. So all things considered, actually just on time to switch back. So we'll get over to the pit box and get the front wing replaced for the 50 millionth time this season, and also get some hard tires on. And it's a little bit slow, even though I didn't catch it here. We were a little bit slow on one of the front tires. So we kind of get held up a little bit from, I think, the Williams entering ahead of us. But otherwise, we do manage to survive. And, well, now, a little bit later on, a little bit after the pit stops, I cycled out to lap 8 we go. I am in fuel-saving mode for the most part, for a good majority of this race. I say a good majority, but throughout select points of this race. But look at the train of cars that's ahead of us here. Behrman did, of course, just get by us, but we'll go ahead and just get right back in, especially with the help of the battery. A little bit of a move to defend from Behrman, but we managed to hang on to it as Gasly and somebody else, I think it's Science, actually, who are side by side. Certainly not Albon. And we'll skip ahead to lap number 9, turn 1, as we send it on Alonso. Not the first time in the season, probably not the last. And we send it on Alonso in a braking zone after a high-speed section. See also COTA last week. But we have called up to Max Verstappen. We're going to go ahead and get by him. We are much like Gasly. I am equating myself to the Gasly of the RB team, to where we are dragging this car farther up the order than what it should possibly even be. And yeah, it's no wonder that Mercedes want to hire us. We have not gone through the hiring process yet. We haven't had secret meetings since then, but we have had the talks with Mercedes as we get by Hamilton, former Mercedes driver, into turn number 1, and we'll go ahead and skip ahead a couple laps to where Verstappen has called to us. You see Hamilton's ahead of us as well. Yeah, I hate those objectives, by the way. That's the one reason why I included this clip. We go back into our rhythm on lap number 20, and we'll go ahead and get by Verstappen. A little bit of a bobble for us, as I am still trying to field save even up to this point, yes. Just to see if we can get anything in particular here. Because the fuel usage of the car was a lot more than what I was expecting, but we do manage to get by Verstappen, luckily. And we will solidify ourselves in a little bit of more fuel saving here as we head down towards the second braking zone. Verstappen did get by us a few laps later, and we'll go ahead and just stick behind him for now as we actually run to the back of him, and he slowed down more than I expected, and that's the second time that we've run into Verstappen in the span of 2 corners. Man, it's going great with my front wing, isn't it? I just decided to go ahead and box for a new set a little bit earlier than expected. I think I was going to try and make it to lap 35, so we're about 10 laps early on our strategy. So it is not a good day for us, as we will go ahead and skip ahead to lap 30, where we once again catch up to Gasly, jink to the inside line, and just sit alongside him on the braking zone on the apex. As we go through the S, we will go ahead and set our sights on Alonso for the probably 3rd time this race. And for the most part, we were just in no man's land. This is what the majority of my race was like, just sitting here, existing. You probably shouldn't be surprised as to why this video is so short, all things considered. This is lap 45, and well, yeah, even though I had signs behind me, I've been battling him off and on throughout the last 5 or so laps. For some reason, the radio call, despite saying full wets, it's actually going to be for intermediate conditions, as Russell and Sainz both have DRS. They'll go side by side between each other. I'm just going to sit back and watch at this point. A lot better to just sit here and exist to see who's going to try and get the edge out on the other driver. Sainz is going to have the run on Russell, which means I'm going to try and be... I see the raindrops at the edge of the camera as well, or screen, or what have you. But I just decided right now it's better to just sit back and wait a little bit, as we will go ahead and come in a couple laps later for... I say we'll come in a couple laps later, actually stay out a little bit. That is pretty much my warning sign right there in the last corner, is to should probably box for new tires. And considering the corner exit that I had last lap, I completely decided to ignore that. So I'm going to be the one to box early here for the set of intermediate tires with about 21 laps to go. Considering the thing that happened in COTA, I'm just going to go with how I feel about the car, and I do not feel that the slicks are going to be an adequate amount of grip, so we're going to be the first ones on intermediate tires. We're going to have the edge out, especially on Ocon and Gasly here. And, well, here's that very example, a little bit halfway down the lap, halfway after my pit stop, actually. is we have immediately caught up to Esteban Ocon in the Haas. You can just see how slow he is on corner exit. And ignore the fact that we're running a little bit wide in the S's. It's totally fine, but we do get by Ocon and set our sides through, and you can see I'm starting to lift a little bit through the S's. Yeah, it's definitely starting to be treacherous conditions, all things considered, but skipping ahead up to lap 9, we catch up to Carlos Sainz once again. I was joking when I was saying, throughout the start of the season, I was joking when I was saying, man, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of Carlos Sainz. I didn't think we actually would be seeing a lot of Carlos Sainz, and yet here we are. And yet now he tells us, yeah, the intermediate's actually a good tire. Sainz is catching up to us. I'm just going to go ahead and let him buy indirectly here, because I am trying to save fuel here in these last few laps. As we move on to lap 61, going into turn number 1. And it's just a lot of back and forth between myself and Sainz. Not anything that's really solidifying either of our positions. Just a lot of back and forth battling here. So this is the last major battle that we have in the last 10 laps. But again, not much to talk about for this race, quite honestly, as we'll move on to the last few corners on the last lap. We do stay ahead of Sainz. Alonso did catch up to us both at the end, but it was not enough to get more points for him or Aston Martin. So we will come across the start-finish line and get P7 here in a rainy Mexico. Luckily, a little bit of a redemption, if you ask me, and again, still securing that spot. 107 points now over Antonelli's 73, so again, just like last week, no man's land for us, both literally and figuratively. Literally in the points on the track, and figuratively speaking, because, well, there's not much to do. So we'll be rounding out the last 2 races of the season, one being a sprint in Brazil, and then 2 weeks from now, the finale in Las Vegas.